Hello, everybody. This is the Dragon King. Welcome to Dragon King 72 Media LLC on YouTube, Dragon King 72 Media LLC on my TikTok channel, and my Twitter page, Dragon King 72 Media LLC. So, as promised, it was supposed to be the 6th, but this early in the morning on the 7th at 12:57 a.m. went and saw for the second time Masters of the Universe. And let me just tell you that if I forget certain people's names, don't be upset. I'm just trying to do this, and you guys know who I'm talking about. So this is the spoiler review, but before we get into that, let me just say that I have the official Masters of the Universe sword, and you screw up the top, and I just wanted to show y'all. You get your straw, right, and you can put a lot of 44 ounces, they say, go in here, and so that's cool. And I've got that. So this is the full-fledged Masters of the Universe sword. I got it today. Had to go out to Menominee Falls, 30 minutes, 25 minutes outside the city of Milwaukee. It's all Metro Milwaukee as far as I'm concerned. And I got this as well. So I had to go to Marcus Theaters. I got this. I don't think this is the one that light up. If it do, nobody's told me. I think this is just the gripper, but it's real nice. I don't know how many ounces you can get in here. Does it say hand wash only, not for use in dishwasher? It doesn't say how many ounces, but if I had to guess, maybe 24 ounces, something to that effect. Maybe a little bit more, but it's a cool cup. You know what I'm saying? It's a gripper. I don't know if y'all can see it. It looks very nice, you know. Mine, either they forgot to give me a straw or whatever. So there it is. But overall, it's a nice cup, and I like it. And of course, the pièce resistance, the Castle Grayskull. Yeah. And mine did come with a straw, as they all should. And I had to go to Marcus Theaters out of Menominee Falls, like I said, because AMC at Mayfair 18 in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, which is 10 minutes away from here. You know what I'm saying? It's all Milwaukee, just a village sub area. Yeah, so it's got all the bells and whistles. For the pop, for the they've got the container right here for the soda, if you want to do that. And there's a tape here for the candy, and then this whole area is for the popcorn. So I did manage to get that, and that's why I went the second time. But let's get into the movie, right? I didn't take any notes mentally. These are mental notes, and if I miss anything, this is the Masters of the Universe Watch 2 spoiler review. So today is June the 7th. If you haven't saw it by now, then don't watch this, right? So when the movie first opens up, we see, we hear Adam's voice talks about his dreams of Eternia and all the wonderful things about it. He talks about the dragons, the sorceress, the falcon flying over, comes after the dragon. We see this beautiful landscape of Eternia, and it's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? They managed to do it better this time instead of the Dolph Lundgren version, which I couldn't stand, by the way. And I thought he was the worst He-Man, but hey, he was the it person back then, and I guess it just made sense to them. So we get in the next scene. We get into, or it might be the same scene. We get into He-Man as a little boy, Adam. Um, he is well, they don't officially call it He-Man, but he is He-Man. He's in a room. He's in on private chambers, huge chambers for a little kid. But what would you expect? He is a prince. His mother is trying to groom him and tell him, "Hey, you have to do this and look this way." At the same time, we see Baby Cringer, and I say baby because he's a small, rather large, big cat. You know what I'm saying? And so we see him there, and he's saying how he was the runt of the kids in the classroom. So I thought that was kind of funny that Luke Cringer was shading the hell out of young Adam. But that was funny. So they go through this whole thing. Now he has to go to school, but he has to. They're in this I guess self defense or training to be young soldiers, and then we see Idris Elba. You know what I'm saying? And he's got on his full man at arms um, outfit and uniform, and he's having fun with the kids. And one of the kids gets sarcastic, and when Idris says, "What is this?" the kid says, "A stick." He goes and pop him on his head like, "Yeah, obviously." But he said it's also armed, so there's that banter. But it kind of reminded me of a drill instructor back in the Marine Corps, and of course his daughter is she's the star pupil and all of that, Tila. So he's giving her props. You know what I'm saying? Big smile, very proud of her. Meanwhile, Adam is just quite the opposite, and he points that out. And Adam and Tila eventually start going through whatever they're going through. They're having a little training, and he starts to not take it seriously. You know what I'm saying? Because he's like, whatever, whatever, whatever. And then Tila gets in on it, so she starts. Um, she's like, okay, okay, let's just have some fun with this. And then who called up King, what is his, King Andor? I think that's his name. And he comes, and of course he's looking at Adam while talking to Man at Arms, and he's trying to look at him like he's not impressed with Adam, and Man at Arms says, "I'm going to do my best to make him a man. I promise you." And he said that may not be enough, and what kind of man, insinuating, that may not be enough. He has to be more than a man, just a regular man. He's my son. You know what I'm saying? That's the implication. And so he goes over there and takes the sword, not this one, but a sword, and basically challenges his son, young Adam. Of course, everybody is bowing their heads, and he's stunned at the fact that this is even a thing. And so he's like, okay, and he takes the sword. Of course, he beats his son. He forces his son to submit and say something that embarrassed him himself, and he embarrassed his son. Meanwhile, Man at Arms, Idris Elba's character, is trying to convince him that his father's going to turn around and show him some type of respect. He doesn't. And so he has to live with that embarrassment. And so he's not really, he's upset by it. And so we get into other scenes where him and Tila are walking, and they see the sorceress in the they see the sorceress. And by the way, as far as what the sorceress looks like, I'm not really thrilled at what these people are looking like. The kids are different, you know what I'm saying? But the sorceress and the rest of the characters, I'm going to get into that and what's going on with that. Um, and so they see the sorceress, she's in her um, Castle Grayskull. She's looking up at the sky, and then all of a sudden, Skeletor's army comes in. They're bombarding the place with missiles and all types of laser guns, and they're really just wreaking havoc. And so, um, the kids are running, trying to escape. They run into the king, um, Andor, Marlena. That's her name is Queen Marlena. I don't know if they call her that. Did they call her Queen Marlena in the movie? I'm not even sure, but I know in the cartoon it was Marlena, and she's from Earth. So they're running. At this point, they're running. It's the king, it's the queen, it's Tila, it's Adam, and Idris Elba is leading them. You know what I'm saying? Out of the towards Castle Grayskull, and they run into a problem in the hallway, in this chamber, throwaway, and Man at Arms Idris Elba's character is kicking ass, but then he runs into Trapjaw. You know what I'm saying? I used to have Trapjaw as a character, and so he's beating him at first, but then Trapjaw eventually gets the best of him, and he just bombards him with his one of his arms. His arms can change to many different things, and one of them is almost like a caliber gun, you know what I'm saying? A Gatling gun almost, you know what I'm saying? That's what kind of reminds me of. And so he knocks him out. His daughter's supposed to be gone, but she stays behind, as your child you would expect your child to be gone, but this is a different type of young lady. She sees her father's, he's down, he's hurt, and she goes to try and do the best that she can to help him, and they eventually go out the window because there's an explosion, and they're trying to get the hell out of there. Meanwhile, the king and the queen, and Adam, his parents, they're running towards Castle Grayskull, and they run into Skeletor and his goons, and he makes sure that they keep on. I don't think Skeletor wanted them as much as he did the king to set an example. He could have got all of them. You know what I'm saying? But he wanted the king to set this precedent, like, I've destroyed your king. You have no leader. Now you deal with me. Now I am the leader of Eternia, or the what is the kingdom name? Shit, I forgot. Eternus, something, and they run, until the so he's fighting Skeletor's henchmen. He's whipping ass, but they overwhelm him until eventually Skeletor confronts him. He sends his henchmen, he confronts him, he's on his knees, and he basically says, I'm going to take your head. But he doesn't take his head because that would have been too much, I think, for the audience. But I'm an adult. I was watching this stuff when I was around 10, 12 years old, so it doesn't, but I might I say the Skeletor, Skeletor, his character, played by Jared Leto. His character was more similar to the cartoon. You know what I'm saying? As far as the corny jokes, the evil menacing way, the costume, it all was kind of very. I got tired of the cape though. You know what I'm saying? Because Skeletor didn't use that cape so often. But I was glad that he eventually had took it off, and just was kind of like, and that was one of the characters that really paid homage to the original cartoon in the series. But so they're escaping. He eventually let the king see, hey, I'm in charge. There's a statue, destroys the statue. Meanwhile, that is going on. They're running inside. They're running inside the Castle Grayskull, where the sorceress. And and why is everybody just fucking just? I've never seen the sorceress have on those many clothes. I'm not a male. I'm not a pig. I'm not a misogynist. You know what I'm saying? I'm not some type of perv. But I mean, why was she dressed? She was one of them. It's just so dressed up, like your clothes. Like Eternia looked like it was summertime. It looked like it has great weather, like 75 degrees all year long, which is great weather. You know what I'm saying? Why was she had on this cloak? I understand she's matronly. The character was very matronly, but not in the terms of how she was dressed. You know what I'm saying? That cartoon was sending messages before we knew what the messages were, if you get my drift. But it was very kind of what, you would expect barbarians and all those individuals would be wearing during those times. Fur, and she's wearing cloth. It's all matronly. It's given grandma. It was given grandma. You know what I'm saying? I like the movie, but the sorceress, that first look, it was giving grandma. And why was she standing right at the Castle Grayskull? You know what I'm saying? She should have been inside. You know what I'm saying? Why was she in the front? Matter of fact, the sorceress has never stepped outside of Castle Grayskull unless she was in the form of a falcon. But this character, I forgot her name. You know what I'm saying? This is a very kind of just genuine, authentic. The names, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know who they are. I'm, you know, I don't know all of them, but I know the main characters. Let me just put it that way. And not that the sorceress isn't, because she is, but the sorceress would not be sitting outside, standing outside. You know what I'm saying? Not unless she knew He-Man was coming and she would be out there and it would be the two of them. But all these cloth, I didn't understand the uniform that she was wearing. I'm like, I'm not digging this at all. It's like these costumes was just like super crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like she was clothed up. I'm like, this is so matronly. This is something grandma is wearing inside the house, not the whole feather thing. And it didn't even have real feathers. It was some other. I mean, come on, like if you're gonna be, the feathers were not real. You know what I'm saying? The cartoon had real feathers. I mean, you could tell. And maybe I'm just nitpicking here, but anyway, they get inside the castle and she tells him, I want him to go. I want him to go to a place to hide. To get away from. I want him to go to Earth. And so, Skeletor comes in, you know what I'm saying? He's, and that's another thing. How would Skeletor get in there? Because in the cartoon, Skeletor couldn't come inside. You know what I'm saying? How he would get in there, it was mysterious to me. There is some lore that he had half of the key to get in, and He-Man or Sorceress had the other half. That's a part of the lore that I lived and breathed He-Man, but that, in the 80s, what they were doing in the late 90s, early 2000s, that was a different concept on what the story was as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure somebody going teach me or try to correct me, and that's fine. It's open. It's open here. But let me see what else. Yeah, I didn't get that whole why she was dressed like that. It was too matronly for my taste. It was too matronly. It was too matronly for my taste. Like I said, I understand in 2026, nobody wants to sound like a pervert or a pedophile, because I'm clearly not one, either one of those. But it was the whole thing, minus He-Man, and towards the end, Tila. There was no sex appeal going on at all. It was just kind of like, I mean, I know it's 2026, but so Adam goes through the portal. Skeletor comes in, knocks the shit out of Adam's mother. The sorceress is putting up her force field. Adam is going through. She tells him, don't keep the sword in hand with you. And clearly he doesn't. You know what I'm saying? He goes to Kansas City. We don't know where the fuck. I guess the sword went there too, but in a different way. And so, Adam he grows up. He's a big boy now. He grows up. He's going through all the stuff. And, he's working for Human Resources of all places. You know what I'm saying? You would think that someone with his background, he'd be in a more creative space. someplace where, where he's doing design, drafting. Hell, if he'd have owned a comic book store, that would have probably made more sense, in terms of his creative side. Human resources makes sense to a degree where, he's about bettering people, he's about teaching people to get along with others. But for the sake of the movie, it would have made, with all the drawings and with all the stuff he had, it would have made more sense that he'd have been working in the human resources. He'd have been in the a comic book store or someplace like that. He eventually ended up there, that made sense as well. So he's doing his job. He's at human resources. Apparently his boss, she finds him doing too fucking much. Looking at swords. Looking at swords and all of that, and instead of doing this job. And she reminds me of many people in HR and other places who like to use certain words without using certain words. And so we've all kind of ran into an HR person like that. And I just, I enjoyed her character. And she was in a Disney Plus movie. What was it? What is it? What was it? Agatha, Disney Plus. Agatha. I'm sorry, y'all. I should know. I watched that whole series. Like I said, I'm just trying to. This is not my forte, but I'm just, I like the movie and I just want to talk about it. So, she was kind of irking me with that, but it was fun to see her in the movie. Because she has a certain way about her. Beautiful black woman, beautiful black actress. And then he's talking to her in his pink shirt. Oh, and by the way, the pink shirt, and then you saw him with the him. It was just fantastic to see that. And then a person who's from the LGBTQIA plus, those nuances were not missed on us. The pink shirt, the him, and it wasn't missed on us. And the fact that it was put out during Pride. Those things were not done by mistake. And I don't have no problem with it, and nobody should actually. But they were definitely, it was a big fuck you to anti-LGBTQIA, anti-DEI, because DEI was all over the place in this movie, and I fucking loved it. I absolutely fucking love it, as it should be. You want to have representation. So he's going back and forth with her. She's threatening to fire his ass. He don't give a fuck. He takes a call because somebody found the sword. He had put a little posting up. He goes into the comic book store and he meets all these people. He don't know who the fuck he talking to. Oh, is this you? Is this? And of course everybody's saying no. Oh yeah, and there was a shout out to, I think that there was a shout out to Richard Ayoade. Richard Ayoade is a comedian, from a British comedian, and that whole haircut with the fro, with the split right here, the resto right there, and the whole look was giving Richard Ayoade, and I don't think that was a mistake either, because I like Richard Ayoade. He's a great British black comedian, and he's very entertaining. His humor is very dry and deadly. You know what I'm saying? And but funny too at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not one of those on comedians all the time. He's one of those, just kind of like the fuse comedian. You know what I'm saying? Ready for a good, a one-liner, but you know what I'm saying? There's a very kind of a stealthy build-up. But anyway, I felt like there was a shout out to Richard Ayoade, and when he was going to the bookstore, looking at people, and the guy, he's trying to find the right, and eventually he does. This guy shows him the statue where he has the sword, and he's doing all this stuff, and some guy starts filming him, and immediately, I'm sure in today's world, something like that would go to, YouTube or OnlyFans or something like that. So he runs out the damn store with the sword. Meanwhile, he's been hunted down. He's being hunted down by the he's being hunted down by this eventually they find him, you know what I'm saying? He's been hunted down by Beast Man. And this Beast Man was very kind of CGI, but still look good. You know what I'm saying? Still could have been like normal, but it was really 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 good. And I thought it was pretty good. And so there Tila finds him. There, you know what I'm saying? There, he's tearing trucks up. He's trying to get to Adam to get the sword and that whole highway. And the fact that it was based on Kansas City is not lost on me. That Superman was in Kansas City too. I believe he's from Kansas, and he's this foreign alien from Krypton that landed in Kansas, and the fact that Adam slash He-Man also landed in Kansas too. So it's not lost on me that there was a comparison there. So I thought that was interesting. And so they eventually get away from him. They get back on the ship. They you know they he's running after them in the park. They get back on the ship. He's reminiscing while on the ship with Tila getting back to Eternia. How he was fond of her. You know, he makes little funny jokes about her age, and she's gotten so big, like he's the older guy, or something your grandma, your grandfather would say to you, or something like that. And she finds it funny and entertaining, like, okay, little asshole, you know what I'm saying? But they get there, and Eternia is devastated. It looks like a war zone. It looks like something that we have seen in 2026 in other countries. I'm not gonna get too political with it, although this is a political. It can be, my channel can be very political, but also inclusive in other ways. So it just looks horrible. You know what I'm saying? It kind of, the way it looked like where Shira was from. You know what I'm saying? And the whole Hordak thing over there. And I'll get to that in a second. Or not a second, but when I get to it. And so, she takes him to this Rebel Alliance group that they've been on hiding. And of course, he's been being tracked down by what is it Manny? No, by Cyclops. You know what I'm saying? On the one eye, he's not Manny Faces. You know what I'm saying? Because Manny Faces has a rotating thing. So yeah, and they find him down there. He's meeting his characters, Fisto, Ram Man, the Moss Man. I don't remember Moss Man. Maybe it's a new character. The whole Dion character. It turns out that she was the stunt double for Wonder Woman. I find that out later too. So so they're down there. They don't believe that he is who he is, because he's acting, mainly because he's acting corny as hell, and they don't believe he has what it takes. But he shows them an ID card, some funny shit like, see, I have ID. They don't know what the fuck ID is. They're just looking at it like, okay, who the fuck are you? So they locked them up. Then we meet Idris again, his character, Man at Arms again, and he he's drunk. You know what I'm saying? He probably got that way more than likely because he lost a significant battle. He let his family down. He let the king and queen down and all that. So, that type of stuff, can take a toll on you, especially if you were the person to protect all, and what I'm saying, just, and so that will take a toll on you. Ooh, look at all this gray hair. That will take a toll on you, right? And so that's where he's at. And that's what he's dealing with. And ooh, all this gray hair, I can't believe this. Okay, I am getting old, whatever. And old but still fine. Anyway, so that's where they're at. And they Skeletor finds where they're at. They're battling down there. They're trying to hide, get away. Eventually, they do, and they escape. You know, Adam uses the sword before they escape, though. That's where we see him, and he actually flies up, which is something unique because and in the cartoon he doesn't lift up. You know what I'm saying? Kind of reminded me again like Wonder Woman when she first really uses her power to the full extent. And Wonder Woman, she flies, she lifts up, she levitates, and so that was interesting to see that He-Man had did that. Adam had did that, and of course he was going up against before he turned, he was going up against Trap Jaw, and then he went up against him again, and it was kind of like all the excitement had built, and then he comes to knock you down still, and so they eventually get on the Falcon jet and get up out of that. Skeletor runs and like, I'll get you, and so they immediately are escaping in the what is it, the not the Eternal Force but the Enchanted Force. um and so they're getting away. I would have liked to have seen some type of enchanted beings in the Enchanted Forest while they were being hunted down. And so they were being hunted down. They fly, and these little razor helicopter things were cool to see. You know what I'm saying? We saw them in the trailer last month, but they were very cool to see. Meanwhile, He-Man, they're flying, and his daughter Tila, Man at Arms' daughter, um, I forgot her first name, but the last name Mendez. Her character is the horrible flyer. In the cartoon, Tila was the shit. Tila was built for armor. She was built for the army. But this character slowly gets into her groove. The flying was fucking terrible. You know what I'm saying? Compared to the cartoon, Tila was an expert. But again, she eventually gets into it, and so Man at Arms is constantly, Idris Elba's character is constantly reminding her, like, what is this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're damn near gonna kill us. And so He-Man eventually gets into one of the little flapper helicopters, and he's flying. And by the way, may I say that as a LGBTQIA plus man and somebody who loved He-Man, oh, he was sexy. It was sexy. And then the shot where, you know what I'm saying? I know this part ain't for the kids, but that whole wide leg open thighs, it was sexy to me. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Don't let your kids see this, but I'm a grown man, so I'm gonna get a review the way I want to get a review. But the man was sexy, wide leg opened up, just sexy all day. You know what I'm saying? Just Adam was cool, but He-Man clearly was a sexy motherfucker. I would like to have seen a fur loincloth versus a leather one. You know what I'm saying? And the whole shorts underneath. I'm like, I understand it's PG, 2026, but he was looking good. Nevertheless, he jumped on. So his little flapper helicopter thing was getting destroyed. He had eventually had tossed, or was it before? I forget. But so he gets on, and no, yeah, it's he jumps on, and the thing comes for him, and he stops it and tosses it. And then on the way down, you know what I'm saying, he hits tree. And I'm like, okay, well, it'd have been better if can you just did a flip. But again, he's coming into his own. And I just love the scenes. They were interacting. Idris Elba was having a moment with his daughter, and while drinking alcohol, and she's upset with him for becoming a drunk for the last 15 years, and she can't. She tells him, she told him, you're not going to be doing any flying, and she probably had let it be up to him to fly, and maybe they wouldn't have crashed so bad. But she's having some issues, you know what I'm saying? And she eventually walks away. Adam, He-Man, sits by him, and you know what I'm saying, and says, hey, man to man, I'm doing my best with my child. I'm trying to protect my daughter, yada yada yada. While at the same time, all this shit is going on. So eventually, You know, they're on their way to Snake Mountain, but before they get there, there is this whole what you call them, northern lights of what are the lights called? They're called something, but it's like northern lights. And before he gets up there, he Skeletor was in his northern lights saying, yeah, you know, it's like a fucking bat signal on crack. You know what I'm saying? The whole Skeletor and the northern lights thing. I'm like, damn, that's a huge, but it was very effective in terms of what it would look like. You know what I'm saying? If there was out in the forest at nighttime, and there was some issues of whether or not I'm going. They eventually went. You know, because Skeletor had gave him an ultimatum, you know, give me the sword or I kill your parents, and that's going to be on you. And Man at Arms and his daughter Tila, they eventually decide to go. And so it was a setup. He meets him. He's got his henchman there. Come to find out, Skeletor has his father. You know what I'm saying? They're looking out of the mouth of the snake on Snake Mountain, and he has to deal with this, you know, conundrum of, do I give this man my sword before I get my father to safety, or is he going to kill my father anyway? Regardless, probably was going to be the case, because you can't leave your enemies. You can't leave your enemy and his son alive. You know what I'm saying? You'll be in constant war. You know what I'm saying? You'll never be able to actually fully take over, because if you got your enemy and their children still alive, there's a chance that they will dethrone you. So you can almost imagine the Skeletor was probably going to take both of them out. He get into it with the he said let him go. He get into it with the henchmen, and they're fighting. They're kicking ass, and then eventually, you know, he loses, and he gets tossed back into, well, his father dies after Adam is frozen with Evil Lyn. By the way, Evil Lyn was not doing it for me. I didn't. Again, everybody's covered the fuck up in this whole movie. Like, what is going on? All that damn lava, all that damn volcano, you know, crest has erupted. It's hot. It's heat. Everybody is just covered up in this movie. Like, what is happening? That would not even make sense in real life if you had any type of housing castle, mountaintop where you were excavated living and all that heat. You would not be covered the fuck up. Everybody was just covered the fuck up too much for me. I didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I, you know what I'm saying, I'm a Pisces. We like sex appeal. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's just, I understand it was for kids before y'all try to come for me and they want to include. But all that covering the fuck up, they didn't do that shit in the cartoons. The cartoons in the fucking 80s. Everybody was looking like they on their way to a beach party. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had skin showing. It was just like, what is going on? Even Marlena in the cartoon had cleavage. You know what I'm saying? It's just everybody was covered the fuck up, and that wouldn't even make sense. If they were on a snowy mountain or something, that would make sense. But they were in the middle of a lava mountain, you know, lava flowing everywhere. All that covered up shit, I just didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? The costume, I would have wanted her to have the purple, or you know, have something close to the actual character of Evil Lyn. She had the white hair, and I had remember Evil Lyn did have white hair. We just never saw it until one episode where her and Adam, excuse me, He-Man had teamed up to take care of, you know, some bullshit that was going on with Skeletor. But you know, of course, she went back to her way. She said, "Well, next time we meet, we'll be fucking enemies and have you." But I just felt like there is something not connecting. You know what I'm saying? There is something wrong, and I just thought it was just absolutely kind of weird that it was happening, and so I just felt like, you know, it, like, why isn't she just, you know, and she seemed very weak. The Evil Lyn, that we saw in the cartoons didn't give a fuck. She was about that life. You know what I'm saying? She was about the bullshit, and her powers. You know what I'm saying? Some might have said they were more powerful than Skeletors. You know what I'm saying? She's just working as a second hand string. You know what I'm saying? Under somebody else, you always kind of suppress your own power just to make them look good, and for you to be in their presence, you do that. It happens all the time. Um, just look at our political situation: vice president versus president, not the current shit, but And so, she froze him. You know what I'm saying? He had a choice. He ended up using that power, redirected it. Building comes down. He think he's taking out Skeletor and his father. He ends up only taking out his father. He's trying to say some last minute things to his father. His last dying breath. He want to hear his father. He want to say some things. He's just really kind of, he's no longer this powerful being anymore as He-Man. He just crumbles. You know what I'm saying? And it's over. He just crumbles. And then, of course, Skeletor took the opportunity to knock the shit out of him. And that's what happened. So he gets captured. He loses his powers. He thrown in the cage with all the rejects. Fisto. He meets his mother. Who and like I said, I'm not a misogynist or anything like that. And I know I'm not degrading women and how, women shouldn't look a certain way versus what, but she didn't look she didn't look that much younger when the opening scene versus when he saw his mother once he was captured and put in the cage or prison. Like, I mean, I didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, yeah, time had passed, but it didn't look like too much time had passed where she looked different from when she did when we first saw. I don't know what that was about. Maybe they aged different on Eternia, or maybe they aged a little bit faster. I don't know. But I just thought that was weird along with a lot of other stuff. Um, Idris Elba's costume was not really doing it for me. You know what I'm saying? I would have wanted it to have more um, Man at Arms costumes. I know this is not the cartoon, so we have to be a little bit more liberal in 2026 with what we're seeing versus the cartoon. But at times I didn't feel like Idris Elba's portrayal of Man at Arms. He could carry that weight. He could carry that character's weight from when I was a child watching He-Man in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? As a 10 to 12-year-old child. You know what I'm saying? Man at Arms had a certain type of weight to him character-wise. I don't think Idris Elba got until maybe the third act. You know what I'm saying? Because the first, I was just like, he's not able to carry this character. Meanwhile, Jared Leto, I think Skeletor stole the show. But let's get back to they're inside and he's naming these people: Fisto, Mechanic, of course, Man at Arms is in there, Ram Man, like I said, the lady, what her name, Dion. Like, I don't know what. Is she gonna have a significant role in the second one? Because I wasn't getting it. Just like a lot of people I wasn't getting it. And so they're in there. They're trying to figure out a plan. They eventually figure one out. Of course, it seems like some type of office meeting where people are shouting out stuff and aren't getting it. You know what I'm saying? We've all been in those meetings where he's trying to explain shit that people are not getting it, and all type of noise starts happening. So, and it was kind of cool to see that Man at Arms was, he was calling the war room when it wasn't that. And technically it was. They were preparing for war. But Adam's background in human resources, his mind won't let him use those type of words. Instead of war meaning, it's what did he call it? He called it seminar. You know what I'm saying? It was a war meeting. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a seminar. But that's his earthly training. So that's what he said. But they eventually got out of there, and they started to roll the whole scene with them marching, and they start, to the to that famous song, and then they start coughing. I thought that was funny. Like they're on this march, and then all of a sudden they start coughing, so it kind of breaks that kind of toughness. But they're still ready for war, but it kind of broke them in that second. And so they decide to get their shit together. They show up back at Eternia. You know what I'm saying? And there was this moment they're gonna face Skeletor and Castle Grayskull, but there's this moment where Idris Elba and his daughter Tila have a heartfelt moment, and and then Adam comes, he kind of like messes it up. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, that was kind of cool to see. You know what I'm saying? Corny, but cool. But that's what it's supposed to be, corny. You know what I'm saying? Because he's all about love. Remember, he's from Human Resources. So they get in, and they get in there. Skeletor and the Evelyn are already having a conversation, and he has the sword and say, "Yeah, this is the sword with real power and all of that." And she's rolling her eyes like she's so fed up with his machismo, misogynistic shit. She's just fucking fed up. That's probably why she told Tila when they got into it, "Let's get the fuck out of here, bitch, and let these men handle this, because this, at the end of the day, they're gonna keep doing this shit, and so why in the fuck are we fighting about it?" You know what I'm saying? Which, if you think about it, you know what I'm saying, who's caused all the wars in this fucking world? Men, you know what I'm saying? And it continues to keep going. So, but, so they get there, and He-Man, Adam turns into He-Man. Now it's a question of trying to convince Skeletor to do the right thing. I'm like, nah, I don't think he's the right one. He's not gonna do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like Skeletor said, you're trying to find good in me, motherfucker. It's not there. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to be there. I would personally like to see what Skeletor looked like before he got his face turned into, because I don't think he was born that way. I saw a movie once about the origins of how it all got started, and that would be interesting if they had that kind of play its way into part two, because then that would also introduce Hordak and how Shiva was stolen and all of that. And because there's a certain lore there that people would be interested in knowing. So Skeletor said, "Nope, we finna fight, goddamn it!" And so they end up fighting, and they was just there was you could see Skeletor was at his worst. You know what I'm saying? Which is what you wanted to see. You wanted to see Skeletor be at his worst. And He-Man wasn't quite. He was still kind of like, damn, this shit went left quick. So he eventually, had knocked the shit out of Skeletor. Skeletor, was that all you got? He said, "No, I've been saving it. I've been saving it. I understand how the power works, but now I'm finna unleash it on your ass." So his eyes started glowing, and that's when and them hits were like just epic. Them hits were like 100 boxes just hitting you in one time in the face, like that. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. And it was just, that's when the third act, the shit that just got real, and He-Man, Adam, whatever, he was whooping his ass. I said and then when he crushed that his amulet. And and he said, "Well, let's talk." He said, "No, it's too late for talking." And he just, bam, and all the power. And then you see his skull just run all the way down. But like I said, I was impressed with Evelyn, because she was fighting Tila at the same time. And I just, I don't. And Tila's fighting style, like I said, she's, what we see in the cartoon is something else, but I just think that, and when Evelyn got the fuck up out of there, she knew what it was, and so who knows what's gonna happen in part two, and what role she's gonna play. And if I had to bet and predict, she's going to try to link up with Hordak from She-Ra's side of things. Because somebody like Evelyn is always looking to have she's always trying to have that what they call it, proximity to power. She has it, but she don't have it on a global, on a bigger scale like Skeletor has it. You know what I'm saying? She has the proximity, but she never actually had all of it herself. So I wouldn't be surprised if she links up with Hordak. You know what I'm saying? In that whole thing, because that's what it's given. Like, she's gonna find the next opportunity, and so she escaped. Again, I wasn't impressed with her powers. It was very limited. You know what I'm saying? I just, like I said, I just wasn't impressed at all. Um, and so eventually, towards the end, they all walk the hell up out of there. They're in fresh new clothes. 6 months later, Eternia is looking good. It's looking like the beautiful, pristine kingdom, wonderful palace. The queen is looking down at the people. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's happy. It's joyous. It's almost like a celebration is happening. If you look down, and so yeah, I think it was a very um, that was a great scene. And then, of course, Adam is talking about, Cringer is still, I would like to have seen Cringer in the battle suit before, um, because there's two post credit scenes where, yeah, there's a post credit scene where um, Adam goes off, you know what I'm saying, and pretends that he is. But before that one, there's Orko. Orko talks about, um, what he says, not, what do you say, just somebody, somebody that has a skull face is usually the bad guy. He said something. Yeah, and back in the day, we got PSAs like how to be a good friend, how to be loyal, how to be support people, how to love, how to not to hate and revenge, and so I'm glad they sucked it in. This Orca was kind of fucking scary. I'm not. I'm a spiritual person, so I'm not scared of most things I see. But that Orca scared the shit out of me. Am I the only one? Am I the only one? Because that's a big ass fucking Oracle, and you're seeing Oracle that big on your screen. I don't. It's that hood and the eyes. Now, as a kid, I thought he was cool, and he is cool, Oracle. But when you see him on this fucking screen and everything is dark, you only see his eyes. That shit is kind of scary. Not scary like you're gonna have nightmares, but when you first see him, he pops up, boom, in your face like that with them eyes, and you know what I'm saying. Just imagine I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying, and all you can see is the glow in my eyes. This is fucking like, god damn. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that shit kind of like, I like I said, this is the second time I saw the movie, but I'm like, this shit, kind of, it didn't. Like I said, I'm not scary, having nightmare, but I'm like, God damn, that's gonna scare the shit out of a little kid. But then maybe not. You know what I'm saying? It's 2026. Most of these kids ain't scared of shit, really. Not some of them are, but not all of them. But yeah. And then there's a post scene where Marlena is talking to um, a man at arms, Duncan, and they said she will come back. Hopefully, she'll come back. And you know what I'm saying? They were stolen. She was stolen from her. And then we see She-Ra, you know what I'm saying, with her back turned, looking over Hordak's kingdom. Um, and she, one of the soldiers say, "Hey, Commander so and so." She said, "Whatever." She's like, "Not anymore." As in, no, I'm no longer your commander. I'm fighting for the other side now. Now that I've been informed, and then they do a shot of the sword. So, and then it goes off. But yeah, that is my review, y'all. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I got all the stuff. I went back a second time to get it because AMC at Mayfair 18 didn't have it the first day. I called back on the 4th to see if they had it, you know what I'm saying? Because I was going to go back and watch it. So I got all the stuff, but they didn't have it. So they said they had ran out of the cups and the cups toppers. And so I just said, well, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go and I had to go to Marcus Theaters at Menominee Falls, 30 minutes, 25 minutes outside of Milwaukee. So yeah, I got everything. So I hope y'all enjoyed this review. Yeah, it was long, but hey, I said I was going to give y'all a very lengthy review. But like I said, watching it this time, with a little more ease and a little more knowing what's getting ready to happen and seeing things. I'm gonna give it. I'm still gonna give it 3 dragon breaths out of 5 because, like I said, all the clothes. It was just everybody was just. It was the costumes didn't work for me except for Skeletor's. Teela's worked at the end, but it was the movie's over with. You know what I'm saying? Um, He-Man's, I love the costume. We didn't need all the flaps. It could have just been a simple fur loincloth or whatever, fur cloth. Skeletor was right on point. You know what I'm saying? Man at Arms, Idris Elba, like I said, that costume, it was a little bit too loose for me. It was a little bit too loose. The sorceress, her costume, it was too matronly. It was giving grandma. You know what I'm saying? It was giving grandma. The costume was giving grandma. I'm sorry if you don't like it. That's what it was giving to me. It was getting very grandma, very grandma. Um, Other than that, you know what I'm saying? It's a watchable movie and it's an enjoyable movie. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Um, and let me know if y'all like the review. And if y'all agree or not agree, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? This is my opinion. This is what I experienced while I was there. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell everybody, tell a friend, tell everybody. I appreciate it. And y'all have a wonderful night and go see this movie. Peace.